throughout volume rises. All right, let's go on there. You have Muslim Legal Persons of the Year award. Ex-Minister uh, Patami calls for increased AI funding in healthcare at IMAN conference. All right, let's go to Friday Treat Extra. Afrima President, global expert, map out new direction for culture at Morocco Forum. All right, on page 18, 46 inmates sat for NECO GC in Oyo Custodian Center. Wow. All right, page 19, banditry, military-backed operation on the way in Oshu, Kwara boundary communities. Mietiala denies link to bandit arrest in Kwara, Kogi. Troop foil terrorist drone attack in Borno, rescue kidnap victim in Benue. I have never belonged to PDP, Fubara declares. All right, Tinubu reforms on track, says Olabimton, as Ondo rally support for Tinubu's re-election. Or your APC youth move to unseat PDP in 2027. Sokoto government presents 758.7 billion naira 2026 appropriation bill to Assembly. FG restate commitment to power sector reform as NDPHC Trends 20. All right, rampant Oyebanji's Agric and Rural Development Agenda in Ekiti. The story is on page 22. And on the vintage sport, you have Eagles good to win AFCON 2025. That's coming from Amokachi. Okay, NBA emerges hero at AFCON 2013. All right, Mbappe's unforgettable day in Lagos. Better than Joshua, says Paul. How Yekini stole the show at AFCON 94. Odegbami Chuku, others as trailblazer at AFCON 80. All right, other stories there this morning. NFF warns referees, top of the table clash in Eagle as Rangers host Ikorodu City. Nigeria boast a deadly attack that's coming from Kwalu. AFCON, Ikpeba, unforgettable day in Lagos. Crown FC forward Adegbite, others hail NNL over award. Aim a coach, captain target victory against El Kanemi. Right, Degba Michuku, others trailblazer at AFCON 80. Mba emerges hero at AFCON 2013. All right, other stories there. Let's go to page 27, where you have news story. 1.1 million Nigerians no longer require treatment of lymphatic varices. That's coming from the federal government. And of course, newer pledges, tougher safety rules, zero tolerance for waterways accident. All right, Kalu proposes 3-pillar for EU-Africa transformational partnership. And of course, we'll come to other stories on page 30. Communities Day, Dangote Cement Award over 15 million naira scholarship to 126 students in Ogun. All right, Ogun HOS present 2026 budget before Assembly comments on reform others. All right, Ghanaian President Mahama calls for continued dialogue collaboration with nations in Sahel. Oni install him as Are Atayiro Yoodua of the Source. About Tudeko Foundation distribute food to 500 homes in Odogbolu, targets 2,000 families across Ogun. Northern can distribute food items to 1,000 households affected by violence in Kidina. All right, those are the stories that made a headline this morning from the Nigerian Tribune newspapers. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we will be giving you weather report, and then our interview segment will take, of course, its space. Stay with us, don't go away. All right, welcome back. It's still AM 120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of your state. Of course, this morning we're having an interesting conversation. Interesting, touching, heartbreaking. Of course, we are looking at the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. The issue of insecurity has continued to persist in various parts of the country. But this time around, we're going to a place we call Orai Bumino. Of course, there was a bandit attack in Orai Bumino. And that's what we're looking at this morning. And so we're looking at Orai Bumino bandit attack. And to do justice to the conversation, we have Mr. Sumbo Badejoko, who is a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to the program this morning.
Good morning. Good morning, our viewers. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's look at it. Of course, like I said earlier, suspected bandit attack in Oshun community, and of course they kidnapped an ex-custom officer and killed one resident. According to the assailant, let me quickly take you through it. According to him, the assailant, while escaping through farmland in Akisha area, encountered a man working on his farm with a head clamp and allegedly shot him dead. Gunmen on Monday night attacked a community in Orai Bumino in Ifeda, a local government area of Osun State, kidnapping a former Nigerian custom officer and killing one person. Speaking with news agency, Inuri of Orai Bumino, High Chief Sunday Fadikpe, said the gunman stormed the town at about 7 p.m. and headed straight to the residence of the former custom officer. Mr. Fadikpe said that the victim was returning home when the gunman, who had laid an ambush at his house, abducted him. According to him, the assailant, while escaping through the farmland in Acacia area, encountered a man working on his farm and, of course, shot him dead. Let's look at, it seems like it's a new trend in the Southwest. You know, the way people are being taken away. They lay ambush very close to their house and they take them away. How do you see this new development?
It's unfortunate. That's the way I see it. When you allow criminals to have this sense of entitlement or this untouchable mentality, what you do indirectly is that you give those with similar tendencies the leverage to go ahead and do their own. And that is what we have been experiencing in the South.
So you're saying it, you're talking about ticks for tat?
That's that's what we've been experiencing in the Southwest. To elaborate on that, up north, we'll see a situation where mass kidnap will occur, and people will say, for instance, how easy do you think it is to convey over 300 people? You say you have kidnapped them. Do you understand? And when the government will come, they say they are now securing their release in batches after negotiation. And when negotiation is used as a term, it means some transactions are taking place. So when you see that happening, in every other place in the country, those criminals, this time around we used to have in the South, highway robbery, bank robbery. Those are the things that we used to experience around this time. And there was some of us call it December syndrome. But those who perpetrate such crimes are the ones now organizing kidnap, knowing fully well that, one, there is a cover for that, and it's more lucrative and less risky compared to going to the highway in open broad daylight or going to a bank
to
rob. So those are the set of people that are now doing this sporadic kidnapping here and there. And it all boils to the fact that, the government has failed in their responsibility of securing the lives and properties of the people. And we have, and if you look at where these crimes, this kidnap are taking place, they occur where the security level is at minimum. All right, Gomino is in the outskirts of Osun State. You understand? Place where we could call the outskirts of Ilaorangun. You understand? It's like comparing Lalupon side of Ibadan. That's how Hora is to Ilaorangun. And it's a border environment. Just few kilometers, you're already in Kwara State. If you turn right at that junction, few kilometers, you're already in Ekiti State. And these are farming environments.
True.
So there are lots of forests that these people could navigate through. But I tell you, those who have done this kidnap are people who are familiar with the terrain and, of course, have some intel about the man they have come to kidnap. So these are things that, it's an organized event. So that's the situation we found ourselves.
Okay, so from your description and to my mind, it seemed like what we are experiencing is an encroachment of bandits from Kwara State to Osun boundary. To my mind, that's what it looks like.
That's to your mind, and that's what would be to the mind of an average Nigerians, because that is where everybody, every criminal out there is getting their inspiration from, banditry. But as far as I want to believe, I do not believe that this particular one was orchestrated by bandits. The bandits we know, they are not satisfied with kidnapping one person. No, let's be factual now. You know how they do it. They are not satisfied with kidnapping. All right, Bomino is not a place where you can just ravage with hundreds of bikes to go and say you want to kill people. It's a very isolated, scarcely populated town. Because I am familiar with the environment, so I know how the place looks like. And not too far from the town is a training camp for mobile police. So they couldn't go and do what they would, a crime that would require them doing sporadic shooting that will alert those ones. That's why they came at a time where they know, wee hours of the day, where they can easily escape.
Okay, so let's look at the trend from the narrative of the traditional leader in that place, Chief Adipe. His narration was the fact that they laid an ambush before the man came, and when he came, of course, he was kidnapped. It means that for days, weeks, months, they had been monitoring his movement.
And that tells you that it's not, that's another pointer that these are not bandits. They are local criminals that want to disguise and make people believe that it is bandits that have come there. You understand? Because to lay ambush, that means those are normal southern way of doing their own crime. Something similar, very, very similar happened in Akobo, very close to us here.
If I was coming there, I wanted us to dissect this before going there, but now that you're there, let's look at the same scenario that happened in Akobo, laying, ambush. But before we do that, let's go on this commercial break. When we come back, of course, we'll look at both similar situation and have a look. Stay with us, don't go away.
We bringing Christmas back, Maggie style.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my Maggie gave to me 12 slices suya, 11 orishi, 10 wraps of moi moi, 9 eforiro, 8 plates of unkwabi, 7 pepper soup, 6 seasoned snails, 5 fried fish, 4 cocoa bangus, 3 patty jollof, 2 geese dodo, and fufu with egusi. Have a delicious holiday season with Maggie. Me and Maggie, so good together. Me and Maggie, so good together.
Still AM 120. All right, I still have with me in the studio Mr. Sumbo Badejoko, who is a public affairs analyst. Before we went on that break, we're trying to do a comparison between the Bomino situation, the way the ex-customs officer was kidnapped, and the way one potentially was also kidnapped in Akobo. And you were trying to say that it looks similar. Yes. So obviously, there were also reports that the the kidnappers rather,
That's the
were
better word.
across the road for a long time. And of course, for someone to have said they laid ambush too, someone must have seen them staying there for a while. Now let's look at the two and do a comparison.
There are so many similarities. And one, they had intel on their victims. Two, they are familiar with the environment. Three, they know probably how weak the security situation of that place is. So when you have, that's why the attack, was quite similar in the way it was carried out. And in the end, one thing was the target, money. Some people wanted to enjoy themselves at Christmas, so they decided to organize. And they pick their victim strategically. They know whom to pick that would give them quick return on their efforts. And as I told you earlier, the set of people that used to rob banks in December, rob on the highway, you understand, are the ones that have now switched their tactics because this one is trending. Government is not doing much about it. A lot of people have done it, even negotiated with government and got away. So that will give an idea to us.
It seems like you're trying to blame government for this surge.
Who else do we blame?
No.
Whose responsibility is it to secure the lives of people? Is it yours
No, you just
or
said
mine?
you just said the failure of government to do the needful prosecutes those that are kidnapping in the northern part of Nigeria. Unfortunately, it seems like we're operating two laws in Nigeria.
That is even if you are operating any law.
No, because,
we have
I mean,
laws there.
You can bet me if these people committing this crime in Southwest are picked, they will actually be prosecuted.
That is if they commit another type of crime. This one now, what you will hear is that police will investigate. Eventually, some unlucky fellows may be arrested and then paraded for the crime, which they did not commit. Because it is that open parade that we will hear. Whatever goes on with the prosecution and trial, we will not hear anything until the said suspects were sentenced by the court. But the thing is, if there are actually prosecution and conviction, you understand, it will serve as deterrence to people with similar tendencies. You understand? Those December criminals who would have either got born again and repent of their evil ways, or look for something else to do. But when you see, obviously, that this is trending, we like trends in Nigeria. Whatever is trending, everybody wants to be involved, whether evil or good. So, for the evil trend of banditry and kidnapping, that is why everyone with similar tendencies want to also get involved, knowing fully well that once they are able to get away, all they need to do is just relocate or change the environment or give the law enforcement some their own quota, and they forget about it and people commiserate. But in most of these instances, lives were lost. The farmer that was shot now, nobody is speaking for the farmer. People are speaking for the man that was kidnapped. Do you understand? And the one that happened in Kwara State, people are no longer talking about the 3 people that were killed. The ones that were kidnapped took over the entire development, and their release too overshadowed the fact that people had been killed. Now, if those kidnappers or terrorists now were caught, nobody will speak. Who gives justice to those who have lost their lives? That is what we are talking about. Government needs to be serious about this thing, because it is not my responsibility to secure the environment. The best I can do is to provide intel where I have the capacity to do so. You understand? It is still the government's responsibility to ensure that no areas is left unmanned.
Now, I want to take you want to look at some issues back to back based on our conversation. You said for the kidnappers, there was an intel.
Obviously.
Now let's look at the issue of intel. Let's look at the Oyo Ibadan case and Orai Gbomina. How do you think they would have gotten information about the victims?
Various ways. It could be due to the carelessness of the victim. You know, some people will be making calls and their voice will be heard in the next compound. And what they are saying are sensitive information about themselves, phone calls. Some do not have any secrets. If they want to pee in the toilet, they put it on social media. So these are things that supplies intels. And these people are also smart. They browse the profiles of people on social media. If you are too active on social media, you are less secured, because a lot of people would be there that you don't know are watching you and are collecting intels from you. Do you understand? And I told you these are organized criminality. There are people too that maybe have developed a trade in that, who are doing what? Who are in the business of supplying intels to others, who will now go and can perpetrate the crime. So there are various ways that the intels can be gotten. You understand? Most often, carelessness on the part. Some are just not security conscious.
Okay, let's look at still on information that people give. Some people are everywhere on the social media. I remember last week I received a call. It was an international call. And the person, it was a WhatsApp call though. And the person said, "Hello, Jadisola, how are you doing?" And I said, "I'm fine." He said, "Longest time, how is everything?" And I said, "Fine." And I was waiting for the person to introduce himself or herself. And the person said, "Oh, do you have an idea of who is speaking? Yeah, from US." And I said, no, could you please tell me? I'll be glad to know. "Oh, don't you have an idea? Suggest." And I said, "Well, I can't even suggest." And lo and behold, the line went off. And the person never called back again.
Because he probably had discovered that this one is smart enough to uncover his tricks.
Yes.
That's the reason why he had to just quickly go.
But trust me, the person got my name correctly. How, where, I don't know.
There are, people like us belong to a lot of platforms. Now, some people will hack those platforms and begin to look at information about the members of the platform. You understand? Pick a name, run it on social media platform, 1, 2, 3, get intel. These are areas where how they do these things. You understand? And the police is fully aware of all these tricks. You understand? How well enough they are proactive, that's another issue entirely. You understand? The police need to be more proactive. What we have now is more of them reacting to the incidents. When will you start preventing them? When will you start following an intel to a crime and preventing it from happening?
In the first place.
In the first place. Because lives are being lost. These victims go through traumas, especially when they are females, even males self. You understand? It's not an easy thing to experience kidnap. Those who had been, someone that maybe has never passed through a forest is now kidnapped and he had to trek kilometers on foot inside forest. Along the line, they could trap of dangerous insects and even snakes. So these are things that the trauma that people go through. And people who are matching you on are harmed. You don't even know if they are going to kill you. So that panic will be there till you get to wherever is their camp, and they now take your phone from you and begin to call your relative for ransom. You understand? So these are things, and there are even some people that say those that we do not found eventually. Those are for rituals. There are lots of ritualists in this part of the country, no doubt. Some people believe at this period of the year they renew their contracts with those evil forces, and they do that with human blood. We have cannibals in Nigeria now.
Cannibals?
I am telling you, those who feed on human flesh. Where would they get the flesh from if they don't kill people?
No, I don't get. They eat human flesh. They cook it, or they eat it raw?
Jadisola, you can't tell me you are not.
No.
You are hearing this for the first time.
No. I'm not hearing it for the first time, but I'd like us to talk about it.
These are things that exist.
They cook human flesh and eat.
How many kidnappers then have been discovered around us? The Soka incident is still very fresh in our memory. You understand? And there was another time in Ogun State, something similar was discovered. And people create avenue for these things. How? Greed of some people who are comfortable or probably connect to the government. There are so many estates that have buildings that are unoccupied. Why do you have to acquire a property that you are not going to put to use, either living there or renting it out? So when you have such structures in place, and some of them are in isolated environments, which makes it a very good arena for a den. So these are things that happens in this country that we know.
All right, and let's quickly go on a break, Mr. Sumo. When we come back, we would also look at, people flaunting themselves on social media and giving information freely about themselves to the public. Stay with us, don't go away, we'll be right back.
What wakes you up in the morning? Is it the sunrise? Is it the alarm? No. It's your dream that wakes you every day. It's what drives you like a powerful engine. That's why you start strong every day with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe Original 3-in-1. Carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. You are on your hustle, and you won't stop until you succeed. Start strong. Finish strong.
No worry, you said go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
All right, welcome back. It's still AM 120, and I still have our guest in the studio with us here. That's Mr. Sumo Badejoko, who is the public affairs analyst. And we have been discussing the Orai Booming bandit attack. Now, let's look at, how information also gets to kidnappers, to criminals about us. People's bank accounts have been hacked. People's social media accounts have been hacked. And sometime about 3 weeks ago, someone was telling me, said, Jerusalem, you post pictures, but you don't put the location of the, place when the thing happened. And I said, I'm sorry, some of those pictures you will see are pictures of maybe 6 months ago. When I'm at an event, I hardly post pictures. I would do it, much more later. So you are even wondering whether it's just something that is happening now. Trust me, it's not just happening. It had happened a long time ago. And so that's my own way of being careful about dishing immediate information about myself. But some people will go to, just like you said, to the restroom. They tell the world where they are per second in the name of trending. Of course, some of them say they are making money. But how should we handle information about ourselves to our environment? Just like you said, people like me who speak inside my living room and they're hearing in the third house, in the fifth house, some other people who speak and they hear, 2 streets away. How are we supposed to manage our lives in this situation of insecurity in the country?
We have just said some of them. We just need to be very careful. There are those of us who handle smartphones, and those without smartphones that make loud calls. Need to be very careful. Be conscious of your immediate environment. Look around before picking calls. Try to be conscious of those who could be eavesdropping on your calls. When you're at a function, mind your attitude. You understand? We have some societal behavior that is now endangering our lives. One, spraying at parties. You understand? If you could spray at party, you are indirectly giving an impression to every other person that is there that you are a rich man. So if on your way home, some people had organized and kidnapped you on the way, they did that with an impression that this man has money, or has people that has money around that can pay the ransom. That's one. Moving about in unregistered vehicles. How do you know he's a criminal or no, he's not? When the car they are driving in is unregistered. Culture of buying tinted glasses vehicles. These are things that we've allowed in our society that is causing problem for us. And now, tinted glass, for instance, the police wanted to make a move, and lawyers, Daddy, lawyers are trying to stop them. Do we want to prevent crime, or we want to continue to encourage it? So these are things that we allow in our society. These places where they produce this vehicle, do they use it aimlessly the way we are using it? It's something wrong with us.
Let's look at
so these are things that we need to really begin to x-ray. And if you are serious about security, it's an holistic thing. We need to change some culture that are alien to us, that we have just borrowed from somewhere or wherever, that we are now so enjoying. You understand that? And unfortunately, everything trends from the leadership. They started the use of tinted vehicles. They are the ones that started covering their plate number. Even though those vehicles are registered, they will put something there to cover. What are you covering? You understand what I'm saying? In the past, that was not the way it is. Even the military never used tinted vehicles.
Okay, so I had to go Google why people use tinted glass so we can be on the same page. And then people at home who have a different impression. So let's just look at what it says. It says, people use tinted vehicle windows for privacy, security, heat, UV protection, glare reduction, and aesthetics. As tints make interior cooler, and safer by blocking sun, headlights, deter thieves, by hiding valuables, protect skin and upholstery from UV rays, and give cars a sleek modern look, enhance comfort, and resell value.
The origin of that narrative is local. The only thing I can pick there that is general are three. Reduction of heat to safeguard the interior, especially when they are leather. Security, in a way, if maybe this, the person inside is an high-profile person that required that. But if you look at the factory-made things, you can't compare it to the one that is common in our own country. These ones are completely black. Factory-made things will still be glass and tinted. You understand? Something similar to the ones we have in our homes. That's what you will have there. You understand? And that is the one that police allow. The other ones that is common, police do not allow it. You understand? And that's why they are trying to discourage the act. But when you say in the name of security and you're also contributing to insecurity of others, then we need to have a rethink. Why are you security conscious? It means you have ulterior motive or you have some shady things that you're doing. I move about freely because I know I don't have anything to hide from anybody. You understand? But when I begin to get security conscious all of a sudden, then people around me will know that this guy has joined bad people or he's now perpetrating evil himself. Do you understand? These are things that we need to look into. Are we serious about this thing? How come civilized world don't go about it? Governments at some in advanced countries, they put CCTV everywhere, knowing fully well that no criminal can get away. If he escaped from this area before he gets to that area, the camera is already programmed to begin to record or get a snapshot of the person driving. So these are areas that, but governments need to do more. But the area where it concerns the people are what I've just talked about. You know, we seem to, be happy and be anxious of doing things that are not right. Morally, they are wrong, but we still want to do it anyway for social classification, to feel belong. You understand? If you have not been using that type of vehicle, then you understand? I know people have impression at home now that it's because it's not using that type of vehicle. That's why it's talking like that. But come, there are people that are comfortable, they just don't like it. You understand? especially when you have a situation with young guys, teenagers, early 20s, for wherever they have gotten their money from, that is what they go after because they know the society permits it and they hide under this cover to do so many things too. Some will be smooshing ladies inside of it and knowing fully well that nobody will see them. And in the process, they are not concentrating on the driving. They lose control, cause traffic. Somebody may die in the process. These are things that has happened and are happening. But if we want to be serious as a nation, we can't begin to not use force, reorientation, awareness, making people see the wrongness in what they are doing, and probably they will also begin to now backtrack on some of these things. And then we provide lesser cover for those that are using it for criminality.
Okay, abductors of the retired custom officer Emmanuel Owolabi in his hometown of Ora-Igbomina, Osun State, on Thursday demanded a ransom of 200 million naira from his family before he could regain his freedom from their custody. Family sources who prefer anonymity made this known in a telephone conversation. The informed sources said, however, appealed to close associate friends and the abductee and other good Samaritans in the name of God to rise, I beg your pardon, to their aid. When asked whether the abductors would reduce the amount, he responded by saying that they would still try to negotiate with them. It will be recalled that the palpable fare gripped residents of Igbomina in Ifeda local government area of Osun State on Monday night. Now, the issue of ransom, let's look at it. I'm also thinking that before bandits could put certain amount on an individual, they have an idea of what can actually come out.
No. They have their own target of what they want to make from that crime or that incident. It's part of their planning. And 200 million is just the asking price. It's subject to
As if he's buying car.
That is a transaction. You just use the word negotiation now from what you read. And I told you, when that word comes up, transaction will follow. So that is, and obviously they will now be looking at the body language, the tone of the voices of those relatives they are relating with. That is what will now, they have their targets. When they hit the targets, see that they don't listen to anybody again, and that's why in some cases the victim will lose their life, especially when they are getting something or the person had already died in their hand. Maybe there are some underlying ailments. Somebody that is of age and had to subject through trauma like that. If it's hypertensive, you probably have suffered a shock. You understand? And you will be there with them. They will be trying to manage the person. And if they do in a place where there is definitely there cannot be adequate medical facility inside the den. And if the person is in urgent need of an expert, or maybe there is a consultant that manages him and is out of reach, then they may likely lose the person. And when you see them saying, they reduce the thing, okay, your man is there, go and pick him up. They will pick the ransom and they will go there to where they ask them to come and pick him up and meet the dead person there. So these are things that have happened. They may have intel on the activity, but I'm sure they usually do not have intel. They don't even bother to investigate the state of health of the person they are planning to kidnap. And that's where we used to have the person being killed, and you have the reports. Somebody was killed despite the payment of ransom. It could be an health issue. So these are issues that, but 200 million is an asking price. Yeah, they will negotiate
price.
They will negotiate it to their own targets. And if they are lucky to get above that, fine. But they would hardly not want to go below, except when the thing is becoming embarrassing. They also have a time frame that they want to do away with that particular operation because they know the law enforcement will be on their trail. They will even be changing location. They can't stay in one place because they know law enforcement. We have tracking devices in this country.
Now let's look at it. when someone is kidnapped, so many things happen. But one of the so many things that happen that breaks one heart is the fact that I believe so much in our security apparatus, especially the Nigerian police force, that if they want to really fish out, their doctors, they can do it.
And of course, I strongly
Unfortunately,
believe that.
we have registered our SIM, linked it to our account, linked everything, even our blood and hearts, we have linked everything together. Yet, it's still difficult to find those that are collecting this ransom.
It's not difficult.
Why are we
That's
making
why
it
I
look
said
difficult?
when you allow some set of people to get away, what you do indirectly is to encourage others to go into the same thing. I have strong belief in our law enforcement. I know they have the capacity, but when sometimes politicians are holding their hands. For instance, I read a report. I knew the Jonathan administration, built this communication network for the police. And you find the masts and the radio station at every divisional headquarters. I'm not talking about police posts. Divisional headquarters. Go and check. They have the mast there in all of them. Now, the report said when the Buhari government came, that thing was shut down. And they didn't allow the police to make use of it. Now, how do you combat banditry and kidnapping when the equipment that is meant for that purpose is not being used? That is politicians holding the hands of the law enforcement. And they cannot talk because those are people that pay their salary. But they are the ones that will take the hit because it is their responsibility to secure the lives of people. And we will blame them for not securing. But only a few people that have additional information about why they are not doing the right thing are the ones that can understand.
All right, let's go on this commercial break. We need to pay some bills. When we come back, we'll look at other areas to ransom collection and how victims are freed eventually. Stay with us, don't go away. It's still AM120.
Hello
Hi, everyone.
My name is Linda.
And I'm Ibrahim.
And we know how much this season means to you.
And we hope you can make it even more special by eating some delicious meals made with Sonia tomato mix.
We also wish you jollification in abundance.
So, Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year in advance.
We do.
Oh, I can't take you for a Christmas carol.
Sonia tomato mix, so much in love.
Till AM120, and I still have in the studio with me our own Mr. Sumbo Badijoko. And we've been discussing the Ora Igbomino bandit attack. And of course, Mr. Badijoko has said, look, it's not bandit attack. It's just a kidnapping attack, with the trend we have seen so far. So let's look at the way ransom is being collected. One would have expected that it should be an avenue to track the kidnappers. But unfortunately, is it that intelligence is not good enough? Or we just chose to allow or there are even conspirators, among our security agencies?
Even banks. Even among the bankers, there are conspirators. I'll give an instance. When there was 2 years ago, it's 3 years now, when there was this redenomination of the currency and they changed the colors of some banknotes. You understand? And then the CBN also put restriction on how much you can withdraw from your deposit and all of that. And there was scarcity of money out there, especially the new notes. And the panic of the whole notes would be phased out in December, and if you have not changed your money before then, you are in trouble. So there was this panic out there. Some videos surfaced online. The very new notes that we were looking for in town, bandits were parading it in the forest.
Yeah, remember.
How did the notes get to them?
In the first instance.
In the first instance. That's an indictment on the bankers. That confirmed the fact that we have bankers who are also in and part of the syndicate that organized this crime. Now, about tracking or not following the money. The police know we have mask money. Now, how they may not really track them. One, it could be that the family of the victim did not cooperate in that regards with the law enforcement. And when they have not been able to give mark money as the ransom, then you cannot trace anything because the money will not even be spent in the same place. All those who are involved in the syndicate, in the crime, members of the syndicate will get their cut. So you can't trace the thing back to. And if you have bankers in, they would know where this particular note have been supplied and return it back to their vote and collect the unmasked one. So these are things that do happen that makes these people not to be traced. And for phone calls, of course, you can track calls. We have communication companies that can help with that. As you said, the phone lines are, but most times the kidnappers will be using the phone of the victims. And they go with power bank so that they will be charging it and then prevent it. Of course, the victim is there. If the phone is locked, he's there to unlock it for them. So when they are communicating with his phone, they are smart enough to switch off the location function so that they will not be able to track GPS. So these are things that they also do. These are smart guys. They are not. That's why I said bandits are illiterate, but they have educated people around them that help them perpetrate. For instance, look at some recent videos of banditry activity. These are videos that were properly edited, subjected to screening, and it's like a movie version that is being released. Meaning that they've done so many computer works on the recordings. But the information in there are actually real. But they present it in a movie type. Can the bandits who has not gone to school do that? They have people working with them that has the knowledge of how to manipulate these kind of things and are helping them to do the video. They have media collaborators. If you observe, some specific platforms are the ones that breaks the news. How did it get to them?
I mean, I've thought about it many times and
these
I have no
things.
answer to it.
We need to let Nigerians know that what you are dealing with is bigger than we all think. It's quick. It's very easy to blame some people or to say a particular government is the one that has brought all this in upon us. No.
Can there actually be an end to banditry or kidnapping or terrorism in Nigeria?
There can be an end.
You really think so?
When everybody is ready to cooperate. Do you understand? Politicians are the originator of these things. They play politics with criminality, and it's not good. And it's because of their desperation, their ambitions, that they place above every other thing. When they begin to see patriotism in the right sense, then they will begin to do the right thing. Politics is election, for instance, is a contest. For every contest, there will be winners, there will be losers. If you lose, accept defeat and go plan for another time. Not that you just must be there and the next thing you begin to do is this crabology, bring them down syndrome. And you do support all manner of evil things to discredit those who are in charge. How do you expect them to concentrate if truly the people are the ones that you also want to serve? Now, somebody is there, he needs your cooperation. No, you are not allowing the person to serve the people. So at the end of the day, Nigerians become the victim of this struggle that goes on up there within the ruling class. And it's rather unfortunate. Why should you be struggling to rule? Is it compulsory? You give a trial, and if you fail this time, you wait and try again. Nigeria is the only country that I know that even after the election, campaign continues till another election cycle. You understand what I'm saying? You see people wanting to play opposition role. They do it in a campaign fashion. And you begin to, what is wrong with these people? If you are seeing that this person's policy is not right, suggest alternative. Engage, cooperate. That is governance. But we play politics round the clock, and that is not helping the people. Because one, it brings distraction to those who are there, who are supposed to really govern. And of course, it paints you too as unserious people, being too desperate, and shows that you don't really have the interest of the people at heart. If you do, whoever is in government, you support, you cooperate, and you begin to map out your strategy by collating their weaknesses. And you wait, excuse me, to the right time, which is when politicking was supposed to commence again, few months of the next election, to begin to rule. Now, it will be a surprise to even the people you are contesting against. But when you are saying it along the line, you are helping them to also prepare countermeasure. And when election now comes, you don't have anything again to use against them because you have already fired all your servos. Why the campaign is not on? These are mistakes of the opposition, and that's probably another lesson for them, free of charge. But the thing is, we need to be serious as a nation if we really want to put an end to it. Insecurity is a global thing, fine. But let's look at the way it plays out in other countries and the way it's playing out in our home country. For instance, we talked about the media. If there's a mass shooting in US, where mass shooting is common, for instance, every media will focus on the shooter, his profile, everything and all of that. That's what will be projected, the shooter, where he has been, who are his family, has he done that before, what happened to him, how did he escape? Those are what you'll be seeing. If something similar happens here in Nigeria, some media will be focusing on they won't even bother to investigate who those who have carried it out are. It is the government, why they have failed. This is the number 1,000 and something events. These people that are killed are the tens of thousands of. That's what we will be now be hearing. And that has a way of affecting the psyche of those who are listeners. Compare the rapport to each other. So these are areas where I'm talking about. And when you see that, the law enforcement feel discouraged because their effort is not being promoted.
And that takes me to the issue of Orai Gumino, attack on that ex-customs officer. In the report, we also have it that efforts were made by local, security to actually repel the attack. But unfortunately, the weapons the kidnappers came with was more powerful than theirs. And that takes us to self-protection. That takes us to communal protection. That takes us to the likes of Amotekun Corps that has not been allowed to use arms, sophisticated arms. Where do you think this is taking us?
I have my own reservation about, they don't need to use sophisticated arms, all of them. They only need to have a tactical squad that will be deployed when there is need. It is those ones that you give the sophisticated weapons to. For instance, even advanced country, the police that you move around don't carry sophisticated weapons. Some will even carry beating. The highest you see with others will be a pistol. Those that will carry something, that will be the tactical squad, the SWAT team that they deploy when there is a need for them to call for backup. That is what we need. But the thing is, we need to change our security structure. Our policing structure is very defective. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic country. You do not put the security of a place in the hands of strangers. An alien cannot secure your environment the way you will secure it. That is what we've been doing wrong with our policing. In the name of federal character, we have recruited all manner of people into the police. How do we now deploy them? We deploy people into an unfamiliar terrain and you expect them to be effective. That is wrong. If you will not grant state police, for instance, if it is so difficult, and as far as I know, it is not, it's the easiest thing to do. You understand? If you will not grant state policing, as we've been asking for, so that people will know they know that the police that they have around are people that are familiar with their environment, speak their language, understand their culture. It makes their own work easier, and people will cooperate better with those ones. If you will not be able to grant that, then there's another way out. There's an alternative model. As we have it like that, a federal police, deploy everybody back to their base, their local government of origin. At least that is where it comes from. Even if he didn't grow up there, he speaks the language. You understand? And that would not be, it's not going to be everybody that will be completely unfamiliar with the environment. Some will be, and the fact that he understands the language makes his work easier. Something similar is what we call the sheriff system in the US. A sheriff is somebody from that particular locality. You understand? In that county. And he knows when a stranger comes in, everybody knows. And when a strange crime occurs in that environment, the first set of questions would be to move around the houses. Did you receive any visitor? Did anybody? So they begin to look, okay, who is the person? What is the identity? Is the person still in town or has he left town? If the person has left town, that is the first suspect that they will now be digging into the intel of that person. Where did he come from? So it's easy to track criminals. But when you have, a careless arrangement like the one we have, even the ones you have recruited, a sizable number of them goes about with politicians, not doing the security of the majority that they are supposed to do. If the parameter is secure, politicians don't need personal security to move around. You understand? And if they are also doing the right thing, they don't even need bodyguards. You understand? After all, you see, was it Boris Johnson when he left the PM office? No, it was Cameron. When Cameron left office as British Prime Minister, his belongings, he put them in a carton and was carrying it by himself along Dowling Street. So the vehicle
that also happens when our leaders leave Nigeria for such countries.
There's no
security
with them.
There's no aid, so they carry their things themselves.
For instance, when Aregbe was the governor, he was seen in the US carrying tray by himself to serve himself in the restaurant. Can he do that here? The answer is no. And it's because we have messed up so many things, and governance becomes, a privilege. And those who are there want to, even to the fact that they are children. You know how many convoys that follow Sheyi Tinubu, for instance? You understand? And there is no office for the son of the president that will require him having that convoy. It's an aberration. These are things that we need to put an end to if you want to really, because those are things that send signals, negative signals to the society. And an average person that is having the wherewithal also want to emulate that illegality and the absurdity that we have, that our leaders are perpetrating. So these are things that we need to really look into if you want to be serious about security. But if you don't look into it, we look the other way, or we say, well, they can't tell you that. Impunity. You are not helping the situation. Culture of impunity is promoting criminality. The government needs to have that understanding and begin to backtrack on some of these things they do. You understand? There are some people listening to me now who are not comfortable with what is coming out from my mouth. Why should you not be comfortable to hear the truth? Are you saying I'm saying the wrong thing? Or what? Why should that make you uncomfortable? If you are not someone that needs to have his brain examined, you should know this is the right thing and begin to look at how you can now adopt that and make the society a better place. But if we continue this trend, it will get to a place where Nigeria will become a jungle. And may that not happen to us.
Amen. Now, all of this that we're seeing, we're close to the eve of 2027 general election. And we're already seeing skirmishes of kidnapping for ransom. Are we sure we're not going to see kidnapping to silence some political parties? Because it's a trend we're already seeing.
Build up to 2023 elections. Some things happen in this country that we couldn't talk about.
Oh, please open up.
Political assassinations. It only happened then. Afterwards, the trend went down, especially after 2007. But that happened then. The peak of it was the killing of the Attorney General, the serving Attorney General of the Federation, here in Ibadan. And if you look at, there's no, even 20 years to come, that incident has every handwriting of state involvement. You understand? Every handwriting of state involvement is there. You understand? If you listen to the testimony of the children that were there when it happened, it has every handwriting. How would the entire security of a person say they want to go and eat at the same time, leaving the person unsecured, paving way for the killers to come in and kill him? And even after the crime had been committed, number one law officer did not get justice. The Minister of Justice was denied justice. You understand? So this one happening now, kidnapping, and the people are just looking for money. And that's where it ends. You cannot compare it to that kind of thing. And we pray that one will not happen again. But these are things that had happened before. That's the peak of our democracy. And what encouraged it? Pronouncement from the leadership. The next election is going to be a do or die. And of course, it became do or die. Thank God we are not hearing that narrative, that word again. And even if they are thinking about it, they will not be able to speak it. Because once that kind of thing happens, everybody focus on the leadership. The madness they perpetrate is what every other person will want to join in. And the sanity they put in place is what will determine how every other person will behave. So that's where we are looking at. So I don't want to believe that by 2026 we'll be having mass kidnap. No. We will have serious politicking. And there may be underground, as we are having now, sponsorship of criminality. It now depends on how serious the government of the day. Already they are arresting some people, investigating them for crimes committed in the past. The usual narrative is already coming. Witch hunting of the opposition. Now the question I ask, the person you are saying, was it not, if he had not committed the crime, how come there are other people that were not arrested or invited for questioning? How come it's those ones? And they are also not in the ruling party. Why do you always want to politicize everything? You understand what I'm saying? So when you see that happening, then you make those who are the ends of affair confused. And of course, the citizens even more confused. We say, fight corruption. Then some people are being investigated. Then we say they are witch hunting politicians that are in the opposition. Of course they will say that when you have some other ones in the ruling party who will stroll into the office by themselves after playing hide and seek. I'm talking about it by Yabilu. And still be free because they've been able to negotiate at the background.
Okay, let's look at the issue of withdrawing police officers from VIPs. With this trend, don't you think it was the right decision? And these days we are seeing them more on our streets. Was that the whole idea, to put them on the street? Is that, the strategy for, securing our space?
The presidents or the government, I think, did that as a preliminary measure. They cannot recruit and train overnight, but they have some people already trained. Okay, withdraw these ones from the service they are doing and deploy first. But they were given alternative. Say, approach the civil defense if you still require such protection. But what were we getting? The excuse is that the civil defense is not trained for that kind of service. I say, who told them? These people, they also have a unit that can do that. And if the law has not permitted them to arrest and prosecute like the police, then let the police face crime and let those ones be doing VIP protection. But the fact that there are opposition to it shows that we are not serious. The fact that the government itself is doing selective implementation also shows that we are not serious. If you want to do something, you start from yourself. Do you understand? Somebody will say, how can the commander-in-chief not be without protection? There are other commander-in-chiefs that are without protection, or minimal protection. If it's within the Hassel Rock, the place is already fortified. Put replace them with the use of technology and allow the physical efforts to be done where your technology cannot reach. You understand? We have 774 local governments. There are some local governments without a single presence of police officers in this country. And when you see them, maybe they have followed a VIP or probably the local government chairman if he's visiting a particular community. And there are local governments where the chairmen don't even stay. They only go there once in a month to share a location and then go back again. No presence of governance. So when you have all this place, you create an ungoverned space that will be safe havens for kidnappers and banditry to now begin to plan their evil. And these are places closer to some remote villages and towns that they will just go in and then come out freely without any form of hindrances. And that's what we've been having. Check the environments where these sporadic kidnaps are taking place. They are places that are less secured. They understand the security situation of that place. And they are less secure because every security is deployed into the city centers. And for states like places like Southwest that has Amotekun, check the deployment of the Amotekun. Now they are back in some strategic locations that I used to see them at night. At least that their presence in those places is helping to secure that environment. Do you understand? For instance, when there is a directive or a regulation put out there, everybody should ensure that that thing is followed. This is December. Police had said that nobody should use fireworks. I still hear the sound of fireworks.
Yeah, I also heard recently.
So, and you begin to, and they will now say once,
No, but why do residents, citizens, also choose to violate laws, policies, directives for the sake of security? Why do we still do it?
That is people for you. You understand? There's an instinct in man that wants to be independent, that doesn't want to obey the law. You understand? And that's why you need to enforce the law to rein in that instinct so that the person would. There is law for a purpose. It is because of that instinct. You understand? The tendency to just disobey is there. For instance, is it legal to be using mobile phone while driving? It is not legal, but it is become a culture. You understand? And when somebody wakes up tomorrow now and begins to enforce that, that's what you'll be hearing. Nobody will be looking at the illegality of the crime, of the thing that is being done. So that's the problem we have. Now, as a people, you need to just understand that, obeying the law is not negotiable. If you want this society to be better, let it start with you. You become a better person and stay away from evil. And also preach it to the next person. Then, gradually, we will be sanitizing the society from within. If you put everything in the hands of the government, and then there is a problem. There is a problem. A lot of people are cashing in on this insecurity. Just a few days ago, the Labour was going to protest. They had a meeting overnight, and the protest was called off. You understand? Negotiation had taken place. Some people had collected December bonus. And then nobody's talking about it. That's their own way of cashing in. But if they look at cooperating with the law enforcement, helping them to be more effective, is that not better? So we all think of what we'll get. Nigeria is big investment for a lot of people, and they prefer it to continue this way. But it's affecting the millions that are just helpless. Nobody to help them.
Okay. There were reports this morning that government has also directed that the unity schools should be open and that the government is sure of safety for all the children. What's your take?
Closing them in the first place is even wrong.
Really?
Because you've distorted the calendar. That security is what you should have just provided once and for all, and allow the calendar
But
to just
do you have confidence in this provision that they claim to have made?
Of course. If they want to do it, they would do it. You understand? For instance, the situation in Kebbi is quite embarrassing. The Intel went ahead, decent deployment. But few minutes to the crime, somebody withdraw those guys that were asked to secure the place. Who gave the call?
Somebody, has the person been investigated?
They said they are investigating. We are waiting for the outcome of their investigation. But they told us they are investigating. The new defense minister did say he would look into it. You understand? We are giving him time. We'll keep reminding him that, come, you said this at this time. How come we have not heard? These are people that you shouldn't cover, no matter who the person is. Let the public know. And so that those who are relying, those other criminals relying on him for protection will do what? They would know that this person is no longer reliable. So that they don't do that crime again, or they find alternative. We cannot continue to do this to ourselves and expect things to just normalize automatically. It's not going to happen. It requires effort, and everybody would have to play their own part.
All right, of course. While we try to, gradually wind down on the conversation, I want you to advise Nigerians, because of especially kidnappers, how should we go about our, don't forget, I said earlier that the weak security situation in the country has paved way for this kind of situation. So how can we, or the people, secure themselves with or without, the security structure in place, being sure to protect everyone? And more importantly, people who live on social media, sleep on social media, eat on social media.
First of all, we all need to change our mindset. We need to all be thinking security as we go about. For emphasis, mind where you make your calls. Be observant. If you have a vehicle, occasionally don't drive. Just take a stroll or go by commercial vehicles. You never can tell some people who have laid ambush waiting for your vehicle to pass, not knowing you have already passed in a commercial vehicle. You understand? These are ways to secure oneself. Then, if you are planning to buy a car, as you are thinking of security in the tinted, also think the reverse. That if you are in a tinted vehicle and you are already being kidnapped, nobody will see you. Nobody will know. So buy ones that people will see what you are doing inside. And stop this madness of seeing security or showing class. So
that when you're kidnapped,
people can see that. So, the way some people would, because there are people that can detect a crime from afar. So that when such people see that there's something wrong with the positioning in this vehicle, they can raise alerts. If you are rich enough to buy a vehicle worth 20 million, you shouldn't be too poor to register that vehicle with 200,000. Even if you want to do customized plate number for 500,000, you will still be able to do it. Stop driving vehicles around unregistered, because such a vehicle can be used against you by criminals. You understand? We've talked about the use of social media. We need to just mind the way we put. Somebody once told me in a seminar that when it comes to the internet, you keep your data private and your life will be what? Secured. You understand? Keep your data private and your life will be secured. When you put that sense of security into everything that you do, you will be safe. And of course, those who are like you handle that funny color, if everybody can handle them the same way, they would begin to think of another alternative. If you belong to a WhatsApp group, I belong to more than 24. But I ensure that my personal WhatsApp is heavily secured, so that even if someone else's own is hacked and I got a funny call, first thing I will do is if you receive a funny message, maybe an SOS, call the person to verify if he's actually the one or somebody. These are things we need to do as people to secure ourselves.
Okay, let's quickly go on this break. We want to go on a commercial break. When we come back, of course, we're going to finalize on the conversation before we go to our sport update. Stay with us, don't go away.
Hello,
Hi, everyone.
My name is Linda.
And I'm Ibrahim.
And we know how much this season means to you.
And we hope you can make it even more special by eating some delicious meals made with Sonia tomato mix.
We also wish you jollification in abundance.
So, Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year in advance.
Wish.
Uncle, I can't take you for a Christmas carol.
So
Is that
yeah,
how you
to me, so much love.
We bringing Christmas back, Maggie style.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my Maggie gave to me 12 slices suya, 11 orishi, 10 wraps of moi moi, 9 efodiro, 8 plates of unkwabi, 7 pepper soup, 6 season snails, 5 fried fish, 4 cocoa bangus, 3 patty jollof, 2 geese dodo, and fufu with egusi. Have a delicious holiday season with Maggie. Me and Maggie, so good together. Me and Maggie, so good together.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's still AM 120. And of course, Mr. Badijoko is still here with us. Let me ask you, as the year runs to an end, festivities out there, celebrations, now, what should we expect in the coming days? What do you expect the security apparatus or security agencies to do, with regards to securing the lives of people? And what advice do you have for the people? What do you think they should do better, as the year runs to an end? Everybody wants to kill something. Everybody wants to celebrate, bring friends and families to their homes. And everybody wants to wear good clothes, new clothes, Christmas clothes. I mean, what should we be doing?
Well, we are free to kill anything that is edible, wear anything that you want. That's if you have the capacity. Don't be too desperate about it if you cannot afford this year. Just celebrate the gift of life and let God take care of you. And I know the securities will be beefed up in strategic places, especially places that are a little bit porous going forward. At least the highway, we've not really had incident along the highways, like especially the Lagos-Ibadan, unlike before. That would have had about 2-3 robbery
Kudos
cases.
to Amotekun for always being at strategic points too.
That's where those ones would. Then places like Osun and Ekiti, the government should not allow politicking that is going on in those places to distract them. The government there is distracted, both Ekiti and Osun states. Why? They have elections next year, and they are busy. So that distraction is there. They should not allow the distraction to prevent them from doing their core duty of securing the people. I'm sure the Ora Igbomino incident would have alerted Governor Adeleke now to ensure that all those other communities that are, on the outskirts, places like Iwaraja, places like Ipetu, those places where you have Ifetedo, those places, you need to now ensure that those environments are secured. Places like Ikoyili and close to the forest reserve, you need to secure those places. Or your state need to pay attention to Kyogo and Ibarapa axis, because these are areas where you have large farming community, and of course we also have a forest reserve that bordered about 3 states in Okiogun too. So these are things that then in Ogun State, they have border communities that they also need to ensure they secure. Ijebu axis should be secured too. So these are things that the governments in the Southwest need to be doing. For the North, well, God will help them. Their own carelessness, but for recent, they met and they did something that is commendable. Each of the 19 states will now be voting 1 billion. That's 19 billion every month. That would do something. That's if they are ready to deploy the money.
And if the money is purposely used, not
exactly,
that we have another
so
Dasuki saga.
You understand? That's why I said if they are ready to do the right thing, they need to speak to their traditional rulers, speak to their religious leaders, because these are people that use their mouth to encourage these criminals and give them protection. So they need to really seek their cooperation and ensure that they preach the right thing to them and not give them information that will push them. Then the federal government now need to look at the consumption of hard substances. Drugs.
NDLEA.
Yes, and NAFDAC. These drugs are also what encourages these guys. It's not easy to pull a trigger and shoot somebody. You most likely will do that when you are under the influence of a hard substance. So that is.
You know, that which you said, shocked me. 2 days ago, I told my son to kill a chicken. And, because my mom already told me he runs away from, so I didn't believe that. Because he's a very bold boy, so I expected that. I gave him a knife to kill the chicken, and it seemed to be very hard to kill a chicken. And when I saw the direction he used the knife, I'm like, no, that's not how to do it. And later I opened up and said, Mommy, I could not kill a chicken. I'm like, really? So just like you said, when you're under, substance, it's very easy to commit crime and do all manner of things.
It is.
And I think we should all take a cue from this.
Exactly, it is. Even, government is trying to phase out the sachet alcohol.
You think that's going to be possible?
It's going to help.
No, to even be able to achieve
There's
that.
There's nothing that is not possible.
If they do it, it will go a long way.
It will go a long way.
But let's look at the parks. Many people are traveling during this festive period. Many people are going to be traveling the parks. I mean, people who stay along the way to take vehicles that are driving off.
What can help that is to speak to the park managers to have mercy on the commuters. If it is cheaper in the park, they won't be out there. You are the one sending them out when you are trying to
but trust
exploit
me,
them.
If transportation from Lagos to Ibadan is 500 naira, some people will still stay along the road.
It's going to reduce.
It will reduce,
because there are lots of awareness about the need not to stay there. But what is still keeping people there is because of the fare, the rate at the parks.
All right, of course, it's been a very long conversation and, of course, educative, having Mr. Simba Badejoko here with us in the studio. He's a public affairs analyst and he's been doing justice to the conversation. And we must say thank you on behalf of our producers and crew members.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for being on the program. Of course, we'll go on a break. And when we come back, of course, we're going to be having sport updates. Stay with us. Don't go away.